is 10. Session 1099, 19th session with IMEC, 9/14/84.
That we have heard, the power of suggestion in relation to the subjects that we have been dealing with. You are quite aware of this phrase and of its meaning. If you would put any credibility in the power of thought and the subjects that we have discussed, you would recognize in your society the power of suggestion that is being used in some instances with an intent, for there are those on the earth plane who do understand the power of suggestion and the power of projections that we have suggested for you to analyze. You must become aware of the many subtle ways in which suggestions are given to the entities on the earth plane, dealing with numerous subjects. They have to do with the suggestions of the health, wealth, with all manner of details. They are projected into your system, as we said, in very subtle ways. They are understood from the source that they come, and the way for one to deal with such projections that are widespread over this country with intent. As we said, there are those who have recognized the powers in the thought processes. They have tapped into this knowledge, and they are using this knowledge very subtly to break down the mental and the physical energies, particular people on the earth plane. And it is very important that your people understand and recognize the seemingly insignificant projections used in much of your systems. These are very subtly used in the manner of statistics, used to sell their items, we do not wish to say that all entities involved are aware of what is going on. They see no harm in the types of methods that they use to even, let us say, stop, as it were, automobile accidents. For you must analyze your own system of visualization and of your total belief in the power of thought and in the power of visualization. You must understand this and thoroughly analyze it. One thinks that to set consciously and to image, if one believes this, and indeed, as we said, this is the power of the thought. However, one must recognize that this operates whether with conscious control or with subconscious control working on projections and becoming information into the energy fields that have direct contact with such information. Then it becomes thought forms and then is projected out on another level of consciousness. When one sees an illustration of an automobile accident, and one sees the negative aspects and the tragedy, you should study the effects, because you are creating the exact opposite of that which you wish to prevent. If one would use the visualization, then one should project that which, in other words, to show the safe drivers, to show all of the things that are gained and benefited from the safe driver. Then this becomes the projection, and it goes into the energy field with emotions of pleasure and things that are encouraging, to show the possibility of tragedy and evokes fear, which many, in their not understanding the things we have talked about, do the reverse and try to invoke through fear. And then this becomes part of the emotional body, and then it can become part of the energy field, and then it can become associated with similar information given and literally create the accident in duplication. This depends on the different energy fields that witness the state of consciousness that they are in at the time, and we agreed many variances. However, you should analyze your own belief system in visualization and in the power of thought. And if you do agree with this system, then you should understand its functionings and its operation. And as we said, there are energies who understand this, and within the systems they are creating through the power of suggestion, deterioration in the moral of many individuals who do not have the awareness to recognize that these seemingly unimportant and insignificant suggestions are being put into their energy field and could become operational with the same principle involved if one believes that they can visualize the things that they wish to manifest within their reality. So to suggest that you analyze and that you bring to the attention any of those who are in the positions to where they could perhaps have an influence on the manner and type of preventiveness that they are supporting to try to alter many of the conditions. And if they were made aware that you must project through the media now, which you want through emotions of pleasure rather than giving images already there, which makes it extremely easy for the entity to capture the totalness of what they are witnessing, the power of suggestion of illnesses, of the many things that exist in your society that you try to combat. We thought we would like to bring to your attention, because it did touch on the subjects that we were discussing with you, and we would like only for you to take this information under consideration and, as we said, analyze your systems of belief. There are those who have gained the knowledge, and they, as we said, intentionally are and using these. And there are those who use these methods because they are not aware of the effects and do not understand.
Yes, that's very helpful for us to think in those terms. I think besides the advertising of products and so on that you've mentioned, that perhaps political leaders and maybe sometimes even religious leaders use the same principles.
This is true, and if you could clarify, some of your people could clarify through 4 different forms of media You see, the emphasis must be placed on the importance, and the general theme is that these things are not important, that words and suggestions do not carry with them what we know they do carry.
Yes. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, you've talked about the importance of our working with individuals in their growth and development. One of the concepts we have is that of a higher self that each individual has. And we're not sure of the best way to conceptualize this higher self, whether the higher self of each individual is locked into some more universal source of energy. Even our higher selves should be thought of individually.
What you are referring to perhaps maybe what we choose to call at this time awareness. Awareness is that which exists with the consciousness, that which exists when an individual can pull itself free from the projections and the realities that have been imposed upon it, and it becomes aware of the reality that it is in, and then through this awareness there is an expansion, and you could say there are areas opened to a consciousness, the awareness, and it then can grasp the understanding more fully of the workings of the universe, and then can it grasp the understanding that it has been perceiving through limited means, through the physical senses, and then it will learn to recognize the mental process, and then it will become familiar with the emotional energies, and then when the emotional energies become directed towards this consciousness that is expanding, this awareness that is expanding, then there are things that one becomes aware of that were not within the perspective of the physical sense, the mind operating through the brain functions, and then also through the emotions, then we would say, become aware of a new awareness, and this awareness then becomes like another sense, a developing of the awareness. It is much like one who cannot physically see, and then it's restored. This is, and one then, it could be like one who cannot see around the curve of the road, but if he climbs a ladder, then his observation will be greater. And it is much like this in rising above the senses, rising above the mental, for that which you asked for description of, within the reasoning of the mental body that is active on the earth plane, and only through stepping beyond the mental and stepping beyond the emotional can these things be comprehended, because your concepts and your ability with the mental apparatus through opposites, because it is very difficult. So a new type of thinking will develop when one recognizes, as it were, the limitations of the mental apparatus, and it does not become frustrated because he cannot perceive that which he wishes, but then becomes aware that he can move to a new feeling, a new type of, and then is willing to move in that direction. Then these things will become quite ordinary, as your physical senses have become quite ordinary, and as the workings of the mental has become automatic, and much of your systems has become automatic, which it can be very helpful in achieving the higher states of consciousness, as it can become, if not controlled. However, it will become as a pattern, and it will be then quite normal as these functions are developed. Then it will become apparent, and there are many on the earth plane who have developed this awareness, this step beyond the physical, emotional into this area, and as they work with it, it will develop, and then through working with those who are aware of this state, then they can assist, and then the development will be quite normal.
A crucial question for us, I hope I'm not too confused about the way I'm presenting these questions, but a crucial question for us is when we tap into something which seems beyond our conscious knowledge and beyond our conscious mind, whether we are tapping into some higher aspect of our own energy systems, or whether we are tapping into something outside our energy systems.
It is all one, and the individual is part of the whole, and it is there, it is ever, and one can I do not have the correct concept for this question. As we said, if you could step out of your mental reasoning and accept a concept of no beginning and no end, and accept a concept of being the individual and being the whole. And these concepts is completely opposed to your logic that is workable on the physical plane. And these laws do not apply to other states of awareness. These do not apply to an animal on your plane. Your mathematics and your logic mean absolutely nothing, and you would have a very difficult time trying to explain a concept, your concept or your reasoning so far as your mathematics and your concepts are concerned. And we have no concepts, no way to relate to you of states of awareness that exist, but we can say that one can, by focusing and using the energies by developing even the awareness that it is possible to a thought form to have a system that is not dependent on the logic that operates within the mental plane of man. He could readily see that this mental process does not operate within the animal kingdom. However, the animal kingdom is part of his reality, and the animal's concepts, man, is quite different, and his perception of the world around him is quite different. And so your perception of things that your physical senses are not aware of, but that within you there is a vague awareness, but there is no process by where the mental part of your energy field can receive and interpret these vague feelings, these knowings that you feel. And this is why that we say you must work on developing, as it were, allowing the states of awareness to grow, as it were, within your ills, and accepting even the possibility, projecting out and admitting, we would say, allowing the energy field within yourselves to admit such a possibility would be the first step.
Yes, may I use just a specific example of our trying to understand what is happening right now. I perceive that I am having a conversation with you, and I perceive you to be I perceive this conversation to be different, and I guess then you different than when I am talking to Marie. So our concepts, although limited,
these we could say that we manifest to you through thought forms, as we spoke before, trying to explain awareness through using the words energy and thought. We perhaps would be best understood within your mental apparatus as thought forms in agreement with certain concepts and ideas that have come together as a, we would say, mixture of concepts with the mental plane, and ideas or concepts from another state of awareness, and we would then say that we are thought forms, in that we are not pure energies from another plane, nor are we pure thought forms from your mental plane. So this would best describe perhaps any of the distortions, for as we manifest through your types of communication, then it is not complete. It is not complete. It is not the same as when the energies are manifest in the other plane. So we would say we would best be described as forms, and as the levels of awareness on the earth plane expand, and as the man finds that through his reasoning and his mathematics that there are other dimensions, then there will be new concepts and new phrases through which communications will become clearer, and the understanding, the separateness and the still unities will be expressed much better. We have enjoyed the session very, very well, and we wish to thank you and to say a good day.
Yes, we are most grateful for your coming. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Okay.
You were getting pulses? How do you mean?
There was like maybe they was trying to send me some sort of a signal.
I see.
It was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you want to stay there a minute more to experience that?
I'll come back now.
All right.
Okay, 10.
Okay. Now, as you come back to a state of ordinary consciousness, remember that when you get to consciousness 1, you will feel awake and alert, full of energy. All your senses will be working beautifully, and physically, mentally, and emotionally, you will be feeling fine. Now count yourself back to focus 1. I'll give you a little beta help.